right, everybody. Hey, and welcome to the Business Shower Podcast, a podcast for business owners to shine. Today, I am speaking with Lenny of Mindright Daily. Lenny, how are you doing today?
What's up? I'm excellent. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm doing well. Thank you.
That's good you're doing well, especially with us being in a pandemic. So I'm happy to
Yeah.
see you're good. So tell our listeners who you are and what your business does.
Well, my name is Lenny. I go by a few names. My friends call me Lindu. A lot of people call me Lenny. I basically started. I do public speaking. So when I started my public speaking journey, career, whatever you want to call it, I wanted to put something out there for people to help people. And I came up with mindrightdaily.com simply because I was going through anxiety myself. I was dealing with anxiety and panic attacks, and I never dealt with that before. So instead of taking medicine, instead of just doing the typical thing that everybody else do, I wanted to try some natural remedies, and I wanted to understand how my brain was working. So with that journey and understanding how my brain is working, I started to do some research and understanding that what we put into our bodies and what we feed our brain is a direct has a direct impact on how we feel. So once I figured that out, then I started to get into meditation. I started to understand manifestation. I started to read the book, The Secret. And that's what made me come up with Mindright Daily. And I wanted to tell people that the power of controlling your thoughts on a daily basis. So that's what Mindright Daily means. You know, we hear the saying all the time, like, get your mind right, get your mind right. You know what I mean? So I wanted people to understand, like, yo, you can really control your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can control your thoughts, then you control the way you feel. And when you control the way you feel, you control the way you act.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big part of your life. So that's how I came up with it.
Yeah, big facts, big facts. So tell us your story and how it shaped you to who you are today.
Well, I came up, I have an interesting story. My mom died when I was 6 years old. My mom died from HIV, AIDS, and drugs. She was 25 years old when she passed away. She was very young. And my father also was on drugs back. You know, they got caught up in the 80s, the crack era and everything like that. So I bounced around a lot as a child. I moved with different family members for like 10 years straight. I moved every 2 years. Just moving, living here, living with different family members. Thank God for that. But it shaped me and it kind of made me into a person who I really don't, I want to say, I look to myself for inspiration, and I look to myself to always look at it like I can pull myself out of anything just because I went through those things so young. And just coming through, I grew up in Paterson, New Jersey. You know, that's a pretty rough area if anybody, know about it. So it made me strong and it made me the person I am today. And it also gave me a soft spot for kids. It gave me a soft spot for people who may not have a silver spoon in their mouth, may have came up in a time where things were a little rough for them. So I always had a nature, or I want to say a thing in me to give back, whether it was through me speaking and doing interviews and just giving my opinion on things, but I always wanted to share my thoughts and my experiences so that people can get something from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you're out there sharing. So I was doing a little bit of research and I see you're heavy on the love languages. So can you explain to everybody what is a love language and why is it important in relationships in any kind?
Right. So love language is basically how you accept love and how you want to be loved. A lot of us, we're in relationships, whether it's friends, whether it's romantic, and we're not understanding each other. It's a communication breakdown. So I wanted to shed light on the love language so that we can get our communication better between men and women, men and men, women and women. You know what I mean? Because understanding how somebody feels loved is very important. Because a lot of times we like to love people how we want to love them. You know what I mean? Or we love people based on our previous relationships. If I know that you're the type of woman that likes quality time, that's your love language, then I can't come to you with some bag or some gifts or what I'm thinking, things like that. You're not gonna really, although it's nice and it's like, you appreciate it, but it's not tapping into who you really are as a person. Like me personally, I'm not a person who loves gifts. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care about gifts. I want to be listened to. You know what I'm saying? I like words of affirmation. I like reassurance. So that's my love language. And it's important that we talk about this stuff early on in getting to know somebody,
Exactly.
so that we can be like, we know how to, so they can probably properly love us. Because if we don't tell somebody, they're going to keep doing what they've been doing.
Exactly.
So love language is very important. And I just want to keep pushing that. And I'm surprised because a lot of people didn't even know what love language was. Like, I'll bring it up and they'd be like, well, what's that? They'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, well, what's the love language? And I'm like, okay, this is the time to teach. This is the time to get somebody some information. So,
Exactly.
we need to know that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's funny that you say that because I didn't know about it until the year I got married. It was a requirement of a book that we had to read before we got married. So we were just learning that, like my love language is this and his is that. I think I got like three of them
Mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm.
yeah, I think I have three of them. But yeah, so it was very interesting to find out. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And it helps you. It
it,
helps you.
it really does because now now I know. So now we know how to love each other because, like you said, the gift giving is just like, what is this? My love
Yeah.
language, one of my biggest ones is quality time. So
Right.
yeah.
And some people love language is receiving gifts, right?
Mhm.
So if that's their thing, you need to know that too. Don't just
Exactly.
think that it's something else. Some people love big on Valentine's, Christmas, birthdays. They like that. Like, give me something. So you just got to figure it out what your person likes.
Exactly. And it's very important in friendships too. I had to explain to my friends, like my two of my close friends, and I'm gonna put them out there on this podcast, on this episode, because they
Okay.
just didn't get it. They were like, yeah, I listened to a couple episodes of your podcast, and I'm like, oh, a couple? Like, no, I need y'all to listen to each and every one of them. So Shantae and
Right.
Mia, if you're listening, I'm talking about y'all. Okay, so how did you come up with the name? You kind of told me briefly how you were saying how people need to get their mind right and things like that. But
Mhm.
what made you say this is gonna be my name? Because honestly, the initials for it is dope, and how you did the logo is real dope. So I just wanted to say that real quick.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Um, I can't. Well, it's crazy because it was mine right first. That's what it was. It was just strictly mine because it was a hashtag. So
Mhm.
I was putting the hashtags on my pictures that I was posting just because that was just something that I'm a thinking person. I'm always thinking. I'm always trying to figure stuff out. So I thought that was a cool hashtag one day. So once I came up with the hashtag and I started putting it on my pictures, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna put that on a shirt. You know what I mean? I think so that's how I evolved with the name. But then when I went to go open the LLC, Strictly Mindright was taken already. So the only thing that was available, one of the things that was available was Mindright Daily. So
Mm,
I'm like, that's even better. You know what I'm saying? Because I want people to understand how to control their thoughts on a daily basis. So it tied right in and it was perfect. And then I wanted something that was gonna stand out. So I'm like, all right, let me go with an acronym.
mhm.
MRD, that's perfect. You know what I'm saying? And I like the way the acronym was, I like the design and everything like that. So I was like, you know what, that's perfect. I'm gonna go with that. MRD. As you can see, I got the hoodie on today.
Yes, yes,
And
I
I can go
see.
to mindrightdaily.com and check that out and get one of these
Exactly.
hoodies. So, I just came up with it like that. And I fell in love with the logo once I got it designed. I was like, oh, that's dope.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that. All right. So, what do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur, and what do you think is the hardest?
What I enjoy most is you feel pride that you actually started something and people believe in it. Like, to actually make something and a stranger believes in you, or you make a t-shirt or whatever it is that you make, food, whatever it is, and you make it, you come up with it, you design it, you put it out there, and a stranger says, that's dope, I'm going to support that, I'm going to buy it. And they spend their hard-earned money
Mhm.
to believe in your product and buy something that you thought in your mind and came up with. There's no better feeling than that. You know what I'm saying? It's like the pride that you feel that you came up with something. So I would say that's the best feeling in it. And the hardest thing is really trying to navigate the business, trying to figure out how to make it better, try to figure out how to make consistent money, trying to figure out networking and all. It's just a constant grind, and it's a daily thing to be better because we have so much competition out here, on social media. You see so many people selling things that you're selling, and you got a lot of competition. So I would say just navigating that and keeping your expectations at a certain level, because sometimes, even myself, I speak for myself, we get caught up in wanting to be successful overnight. You know what I'm saying? Like, we
Yeah.
like, yo, I want to be popping like this person, or I want to be like, you know what I mean? So you get caught up in that and you get down on yourself. So
Yeah.
just trying to balance that
Yeah.
is difficult.
And you know what I learned from my last guest is that it's all about putting systems in place, like systems so that your business runs regardless if you're there or not.
Mm,
And that is one of the hardest things that I have been facing these days, because
mm,
if I do it, it's done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's done because I did it. But
right.
trusting and putting stuff in other people's hands, that's one of the hardest things for me. So I gotta that's one of my goals for 2021 to work on. So it's all
Okay.
about that. Okay, so what is the biggest pain point you've been dealing with these days with COVID?
What is the biggest what?
Your pain point, like what's the hardest thing that you've been dealing with these days with COVID happening?
Um, the hardest thing is trying to reading stuff that I read on Facebook and on Instagram. It's an information overload. So you're hearing one thing, you're hearing something else, trying to stay educated on what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's so confusing. And it's like you're hearing things that the numbers is going up. Then you hear, oh, the numbers is going down. Then you hear the death toll. Then you hear they're lying about the death toll. Then you know what I'm saying? You don't really trust the government, but then you have no choice but to trust them. Like all of that information is hard to deal with because it begins to weigh on you. And then you're hearing about people passing away. Thankfully, luckily, thank God, I haven't had any close people. I've known people pass away, but I haven't had any close people that was affected by it. So I'm thankful for that, but still, I feel for people who have. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I wasn't directly affected, but what about my friends or people that I know? You know what I mean? So it's just processing that, man. Hearing about people pass away and just feeling hopeless. You know that we don't know when this is going to be over. We don't know why it's here, and just trying to stay. You know, try to believe in God and stay grounded with it.
Yeah,
It's
it
hard.
is. It definitely is. And then with, people being asymptomatic and you not even knowing whether or not they have it or not. Because I was asymptomatic. I had it at one point in time. I don't know when, but
Right.
I did. But thank God it didn't negatively affect me to the point where had to be hospitalized. I didn't even know I had it. So
Right.
it's just this whole year has just been tough.
Yeah, it's been tough on everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move right along. So, three people that influenced you
Throughout my life.
throughout your life, everything, or
Um,
even your business.
three people that influenced me. I would say, I mean, I had a lot of influences throughout my life, but I'll break it down to three. My aunt Julie was a big influence in my life. Like I said, I moved around a lot, and living with her from, I believe, from 10 years old to about 13 was a big, important influence in my life. She taught me respect. She taught me respect for myself. She gave me an example of what a woman is.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a real key point in my life. I would say her. So many rappers influenced me because hip hop music, I'll just say in general, influenced me because I didn't have a consistent father figure in my life. So rap music raised me. You know, I listened to Tupac heavy. I listened to Nas heavy. And listening to Tupac gave me pride in myself. It gave me pride to be black.
Mm-hmm.
Um, learning about Black Panthers, learning about all that stuff through Tupac. Um, so that was a big influence. And then I would say Nipsey Hussle was a real big influence on me because he was the one who really helped me start my entrepreneur career, because I would listen to him talk about owning stuff and being a businessman and getting stocks and stuff like that. And I always had that in my mind, but I would listen to his music and get instantly motivated to do what I needed to do. And it really hurt my feelings when he passed away. So I would say he was a big influence on me.
Okay. All right. So you had some influential people that you knew personally and people that you never met, which is interesting. I never had anybody on the show say that, they were influenced by, somebody that's not even here anymore. And I'm sure they will probably be happy to know that you influenced them. So hopefully, like this podcast really, really blows up if people could hear your story and they could see that you could pull inspiration from anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
So
It will blow up. The
yeah,
podcast will blow up. It
you're right.
definitely
It
will.
will. You're right. I'm
It will.
speaking negatively all over again. I said I wasn't going to do that
It
this
will.
year. But so what characteristics do you feel like is needed for a small business owner or a business owner of any kind to have when they're starting a business?
I would say number one, fearlessness. You have to be fearless. You know what I mean? You got to be like, yo, I'm going after this. You know what I mean? This is what I'm going to do, win, lose, or draw. I would say confidence. Confidence in yourself that if it doesn't work out, if you take a loss, you can bounce back and do what you need to do. I would say fearlessness, confidence, and then you got to have some type of I could curse on you.
Yeah.
You got to have some type of like fuck it in your system. You know what I'm saying? So where you're not worried about what people think. Something goes wrong, you're not gonna hold on to that and be like, damn, I lost money, I can't, you know what I mean? This didn't go right, oh, my website didn't come out right. You gotta have some of that in you to be like, you know what, fuck it, next, I'm moving on to the next one. I gotta keep it moving. So I would say those are the three characteristics that if you have that in you, you can be able to and four, I say honorable mention, be willing to learn. Be willing to learn.
Be teachable.
Because you're gonna need that for real.
Okay.
Word.
I like that. Y'all hear that? Those are all gems. So make sure y'all write those down. All right. So we know that entrepreneurship is a tough road, right? So in those difficult moments, how do you stay focused and continue to move forward and make a progress?
I'll just rely back on some of the things I've heard and from the people who influenced me. I've heard like things go off in my head from songs, right? You hear stuff like Nipsey got songs where he talk about you're gonna take a loss, it's how you bounce back. You know what I'm saying? It's a line from 50 Cent that he be like, when shit don't go down smooth, I don't panic. That's always in my head.
Yeah.
Because I think about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you think about that and you just say, all right, this ain't going down smooth. You can't panic. You got to say, all right, cool. Let me move to the next thing. Let me keep it moving. You know what I mean? So I just refer back to a lot of lines in my head.
Yeah.
That's what gets me through.
Okay. All right. So this is gonna be a trick question, but what is your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
My biggest failure in life? Life or in business? I would say my biggest failure would probably be relationship.
Okay.
I had a failure in a relationship where and I'm still learning from that. That taught me a lot because it's kind of parallel to business. It's like when I failed in relationships and I wasn't doing the right thing, it's like I learned that you can't you gotta take self accountability, right? You gotta say to yourself, okay, what did I do wrong in this? What was my mistake and with this woman or whatever? You know what I'm saying? I take the same thing when I go into business because if you're not accountable for your mistakes and for your mishaps, then you can never move on. So I learned when I was 25, 26, when that relationship failed, and I kept like saying like back then I would just blame everything on the woman, you know what I mean? But once I got older and learned self-accountability, I'm like, all right, cool. I was wrong in this area. I need to do better in that area. So I took that and applied it to different things in my life, business, work, other relationships and stuff like that. So I would say that was my biggest failure.
Okay.
When I learned from that.
The reason why I say it was a trick question is because I don't like to look at them as failures. I like to look at them as like lesson learned and like experience to check it up. So I always ask that question just to see, what people say. So that's good. All right. So what's your greatest fear and how do you manage it?
Oh, wow. My greatest fear, you want the interview question or the real answer?
Give me both.
Nah, I'll give you both.
Yeah.
My greatest fear is just not being successful, not being to the point where I feel I'm successful, because a lot of people may look at you and say, yo, you are successful, you came from where you came from, but not being able to feel that like I did it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still on that journey. I'm still trying to feel that feeling of I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. I accomplished what I came to accomplish. I'm satisfied. I feel like I did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's my biggest fear. That's what's driving me right now.
Okay. I think we all feel like that because even if you look back at your goals that you had and you wanted to accomplish for 2020, right? And majority of them are checked off. You're like, I'm still not where I want to be, you know?
Right.
So,
Right. That's my interview one. And then my other biggest fear is getting with a woman, falling in love with a woman,
mm-hmm.
and it not being returned. You know what I'm saying? That's
Mm-hmm.
enough. That's why I'm out here single on these streets. You know what I'm saying? But that's
Okay.
personal, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. Ladies, y'all hear that, right? Okay. So what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a similar career to yours?
I would say first thing, figure out what you want to do. Figure out exactly what you want to do and why you want to do it. Like write that down. Because a lot of people come with ideas and be like, yo, I want to do this. Figure out your why. Like I said, my why I was doing it, I went through anxiety. I want to help some people understand to control their thoughts. That's my why. So anything that comes that's my root. So anything that comes from that, I can revert back to this is why I'm doing it. It's to help people, it's to enlighten, it's to get people to understand the power of their thoughts. So just figure out your why and figure out what you want to do. And then you could branch off from there.
Okay. So I got an impromptu question. How do you manage your anxiety? Because there's a lot of people in the United States of America, just here, that's dealing with anxiety and they don't know how to manage it. So how did you manage your anxiety?
Me first, I did research on what causes anxiety.
Okay.
What causes it? Like what's going on and what is being put into my body to make me feel this way? And when I looked at it, I seen meat, number one. Meat is like, it has so many things in it that's causing anxiety. Sugar causes anxiety. Alcohol causes anxiety. So, all of these things, aside from a lot of stuff, but your diet is very important. You know what I mean? That's why I push a lot of that in my story and in my my Instagram posts and stuff like that. Try to put as many healthy things into your body as possible, because your gut and what you put into your body and your gut controls this all day long. So if your gut is full of garbage, then up here, you're going to be all messed up. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people have a terrible diet and a bad diet, and they don't understand why they're feeling the way they're feeling. So I would say, for me, it's clearing up my diet. Because to be honest with you, when I was doing the way I was eating before and I was dealing with anxiety, the way I eat now, I can manage it way better. You know what I mean? And when I had the understanding of what's really going on, when I start to get a panic attack or I start to feel anxiety, I can talk to myself. All right, you know what this is, you know what's going on, this is that. And then immediately it starts to go down. But I would say diet. Please pay attention to your diet, because everything on these street corners, these fast foods and all this stuff is riddled with BS, mucus, and it's going straight from your gut to your brain, and you ain't got no chance if your diet is messed up.
Exactly. Okay. Now, do you meditate at all?
I don't. Sometimes I do, but I'm still struggling with that. Like my mind be going so many places. I sit for a couple minutes and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'll be drifting off. But that's one of my things I'm gonna work on this year to get better at, for sure.
Yeah, you and me both. My mind goes all over the place.
Yeah.
When I try. All right. So what are the best resources that helped you along the way to help you start and run your business? So was there any resources that helped you?
Resources, I would say my family, because my cousin has his own company that he does t-shirts, he does web design and all of that. So I would say networking, right? You don't know everything as a person who's trying to do something. Get around people who know what you're trying to do. Network with some people who can help you get to where you're trying to go. I'm a type of person, just for example, I feel like I'm good at speaking. I feel like I'm good at marketing. I feel I'm good at putting myself out there. I'm not necessarily good with organization. So I need to get with some people who know how to organize. My cousin know how to organize. I'm not a web designer. I know what I want on my website. I know you know what I'm saying? So let me get with some people who I can tell them what to do and they're going to do it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's a skill and that's very important. Get with some people who are trying to do what you're trying to do. And that's a good resource. That goes back to you being able to be humble and be teachable because you don't know everything. And if you try to do everything by yourself, you ain't going to get nothing done. Some of the most greatest people in the world, look at, for instance, look at Puffy, right? He's not a traditional musician. You know what I'm saying? He don't know how to do a lot of things, but guess what? He got a person who do the beat. He know how he wanted to sound. You're going to rap, you're going to do this. And he going to orchestrate all of this. And it's going to bring his brand up and bring his thing to where it need to be. But that's a skill. You got to get with people that know how to do it.
Yeah. And I'm sure he wasn't a chemist to be able to make Ciroc either, but he knew what he wanted.
He knew what he wanted. You see what I'm saying? And when you think of Ciroc, you think of Puff. And that's just what it is. So you got to get with people. And don't be afraid to reach out to people. DM people. You're going to get left on red. You know how many times I get left on red? It's all good. But DM people, some people hit you back and you'll get further and further as you go.
Agreed. Okay. So what advice would you tell your younger self? Like, what would you tell yourself?
My younger self, I would say, believe in yourself. Don't listen to nobody. Listen to yourself. Okay. Listen to yourself and trust yourself. Trust what you believe. I would say that to myself if I was like 10 years younger. Trust what you believe. Go after what you believe. And you know what I'm saying? Don't listen to nobody.
Absolutely.
That's what I was about.
If money wasn't an option, what would you do every day?
If money wasn't an option, what would I do every day? I would probably smoke weed and have sex all day. That's probably what I would do, to be honest.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I would do.
That's funny. Yeah. All right, that's the truth though. So I hear you.
Facts.
Okay.
Word.
So what's your vision for Mindright Daily? And with that being said, I see a podcast coming up soon for you because I see the interviews that you're doing on your story. So is that in your future?
Yeah, we definitely start a podcast and start interviewing people. That's a passion of mine. Okay. I want to do that. And as far as Mindright Daily, I just want to continue to build it, continue to bring awareness to things that people don't really talk about, and continue to sell merchandise, continue to let people know the power of their thoughts, and start to infuse this healthy eating thing into it more and more. I want to turn Mindright into a thing when you come there, you're getting healthy eating tips, you're getting things to clear up your mind. That's the whole goal. I'm in the beginning stages of Mindright and bringing it to where I want it to be. So it's a whole thing of I want people to come there and they're going to get something to feed their brain. And when you come out of there, you'll feel better and you'll get some information on how to be better. So that's where I want to take it.
Okay. All right. So here's my signature question, right? So what's something unique that no one knows about you or your business that makes you different?
That makes me different. I think I'm very complex and I think I'm very transparent. And I think that the difference with me is I'm not just one thing. And the difference with my brand is I'm not gonna tell you something to sell you a dream. Like, hi guys, every day you're gonna be positive and every day you're gonna feel that ain't me. I ain't no salesman like that. I'm gonna tell you the real. Some days I don't feel positive. Some days I gotta call my friends and be like, yo, shit ain't going right. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I need to get inspiration from them. You know, some days you may see me post something wild on my page because that's how I'm feeling. So with me, you're gonna get an everyday person and how we really feel. You're not gonna get a cookie cutter brand that everybody is trying to do and trying to sell you something. I'm not doing that. I want you to come and if you fool with me, you fool with me all the way around, not just because you think I'm pushing one certain agenda. Okay.
All right. So before we wrap up, do you have any questions for me? This is something new that I'm trying. So the last couple of guests, I gave them the floor to ask me questions.
Do I have any questions? I got things I want to say to you. I got praise for you. First of all, I want to tell you to keep going with your podcast. I want to tell you congratulations on you getting married. I think that's dope. We need more of that in our community. We need people to celebrate that more and more, especially for young Black women and men. I think that's super dope to promote that Black love. And I would say, how many podcasts have you done so far? Like how many shows, and where could I, listen to it at?
So you could listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're on YouTube too for the video version. So this will be posted on YouTube.
Okay.
And released 7 episodes. So I still got a couple more under my belt to actually release. But by February, we should be at 10. And I'm going to do like a big celebration on Instagram when we get to episode 10. Because that's big for me. That was my goal, to make it to episode 10. So right now we're at 7 and we got 3 more to go. So I'm almost there.
Okay, dope. And I'll definitely check out all the ones. As soon as you post them, I'll be on it. Let me know. And I'll definitely check them out, repost them, support and all that, because I like what you're doing. And thank you for even thinking of me to have you on. I appreciate it.
I had to have you on. You talking about love languages, and I told you, I had inboxed you. I was just like, yo, you told me that you was going to speak at schools. And I was like, look at you. You speaking at schools now. Like you did it. So I know you're not where you want to be, but you're almost there. So like, don't even worry about it. So before we end, let our listeners know how they could connect with you online. Put all your information out there. Just tell them everything. Because y'all need to be buying these t-shirts because they are hot. I'm telling y'all. Go ahead.
Thank you. You can find me at Instagram 213_973. You can also find me at Instagram Mindright Daily at Instagram. So that's 213_973. And my business page is Mindright Daily. You can check the website out at mindrightdaily.com. That's one word, mindrightdaily.com. And you can also find me on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Leonard King. So those are my handles. That's where y'all can find me. And DM me. I read my DMs. So get with me.
So y'all hear that? So that is a wrap for this episode. Thank you guys for joining. And until next time, deuces.